is elected, they will begin acting as the chairperson. So at this time, I would like to call to order the April 23rd, 2024 meeting of Hartford Joint 1 School District Board of Education. If I could have a roll call of board members in attendance, please.
Mr. Benke. Here. Hunter. Here. Mr. Brightmore.
Here.
Strong. Here. Well, here.
Thank you, Ms. Hoffman. This is a meeting of the Board of Education in public for the purpose of conducting the district's business and is not to be considered a public community meeting. There is a time for public participation during the meeting as indicated in the agenda. Any district resident wishing to speak should have filled out a card located at the sign-in table over on this side of the cafeteria and given it to our board secretary. At this time, if you would please join me in rising and reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. The flag is to my left, your right. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. At this time, I would ask for consideration for approval of the agenda. The agenda notes the board's mission that we will support our community through dedicated governance, leadership, and stewardship so that our students achieve. It also states our values and expectations as a board in governing our meetings. The purpose of the agenda approval is twofold. The first reason is to verify that public notice has been given according to state statute 19.84. Ms. Hoffman, has the meeting been properly noticed? Thank you. The second reason for approval of the agenda is to consider tabling an item or to rearrange the order of events. At this point in time, we are looking for a nomination or for a motion to arrange the board of action items. Do I have a motion to reorder the agenda? Moving our PTO for Rossman to the just after the staff of the year presentations.
I'll make a motion to reorganize the agenda.
Thank you, Mrs. Wilkin. Is there a second? Thank you, Mrs. Shrunk. And then if we could vote, please. Those in favor of moving the agenda action item number 1 to follow the staff of the year presentations, please say aye at this time. Those opposed, same sign. The motion passes, and we will move the Rossman PTO donation to follow the staff of the year presentations. At this time, we will do the ceremonial oath of office, and so if I could have Mr. Benke and Ms. Linder recite the oath along with you, Ms. Hoffman. With me. Okay, if you would please rise. They both did take the oath proceeding today, so this was simply an opportunity for them to recite that oath in front of you as the public. At this point in time, we will move on to do our board reorganization, and that proceeds with our election of board officers. So I just wanted to remind everyone that when I call for nominations, I will be calling 3 times. That does not mean I am unhappy with any of the nominations. It is simply something that I must do. So if only one person is nominated, it is typical for a board member after the 3rd request for nominations to make a motion to close nominations and cast a unanimous ballot for the candidate. This action does take a second and a vote. If more than one candidate is nominated for an office, you may vote for a candidate by secret ballot. Ms. Hoffman does have the ballots right in front of her, and we will plan to move those or use those today. The candidate with the majority of votes will be declared the winner for that office. The elected president will lead this procedure for the offices of vice president, clerk, and treasurer. So at this time, I would like to call for any nominations for president. There is a nomination for Mr. Benke. Mr. Benke, do you accept? Thank you, Mr. Benke. And we have a nomination for Ms. Wilk. Ms. Wilk, do you accept? Are there any other nominations? Okay, we have a third nomination for Mr. Pridemore. Mr. Pridemore, do you accept? Okay. At this time, we have Mr. Benke, Ms. Wilk, and Mr. Pridemore as candidates for the office of board president. Are there any other nominations? Ms. Strunk, do you accept the nomination? I do not. Okay. Ms. Strunk declines. Thank you for your nomination, Mr. Benke. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Okay. So we will close the nominations at this point. Ms. Hoffman will hand out the ballots to each of you. Once you are done completing your ballot, you can put it at the front of the table, and Ms. Hoffman will come by to collect them, and we'll bring them back to Mr. Majerus. Once again, the nominees for president are Mr. Benke, Ms. Strunk, and Mr. Pridemore. We had a tie vote. The vote was 2, 2, and 1. That does mean that we will do a second round for board president. The results were the same as the first. We have 2 votes for Mr. Pridemore, 2 votes for Ms. Wilk, 1 vote for Mr. Benke, which means that we do need to re-vote. We have a different colored ballot again for you. audience members who are watching a board reorganization for the first time, when there are 3 or more nominees for an office, a board does not automatically drop the nominee with the fewest votes from all subsequent rounds of voting. So that is why we continue to vote until we had a winner. And in this case, with 3 votes, the majority goes to Ms. Erin Wilk as our new board president, which means I will now pass the microphone over to you for the next rounds.
Okay, thank you very much. I'm honored and humbled and will do my best to serve this board and the community. I'm looking now for nominations for the office of vice president. That's a nomination for Don Pridemore. Are there any other nominations? I would like to nominate Louise Shrunk. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Okay, so we have Don Pridemore and Louise Shrunk nominated for office of vice president. Don and Louise, do you both accept that nomination? Don, give me a thumbs up. I'm going to take that as a yes. Don Pridemore has the majority of the votes for the position of vice president. Congratulations, Don. And now I'm looking for nominations for the office of clerk. I would nominate Louise Shrunk for the office of clerk. Are there any other nominations? Do you accept that? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Then I would look for a motion to close nominations for clerk of the Board of Education and cast a unanimous vote for Louise. Can I get a second? Don and Ed both tied. And all in favor? Aye. Then congrats to Louise, you're our clerk. Office of the Treasurer. Are there any other nominations? Are there any other nominations? Ed, do you accept that? Backwards. Any other nominations? And are there any other nominations? Then I would look for a motion to close the nominations for Treasurer of the Board of Education and cast a unanimous ballot for Ed Bakey with ministerial duties of the Treasurer delegated to the Business Services Director. Need a motion in a second. Thank you. Louise, second. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Congratulations to Ed as Office of the Treasurer. Thank you. And I just want to say welcome to Barb because it's her first meeting after being elected, and congrats to Ed as well. We've been here, so welcome. Barb. Now we're going to move on to the appointment of the WASB delegate. I would like to appoint Louise Shrunk as the WASB delegate and Don Pridemore as an alternate, if you would both accept those nominations. Wonderful. Amazing. Annually, the board must also select depositories. One depository was removed from the listing. And is there a motion?
Resolution authorizing the designation of the public depositories of Associated Bank, Associated Trust Company, BMO Harris Bank, Bank 59, Forte Bank, Landmark Credit Union, PMA Financial Network, Robert W. Baird, Wisconsin Investment Series Cooperative, and the State and Local Government Investment Pool for 2024-25.
Do we have a second? Don seconded. And that's a roll call vote.
Ed? Mark? Don? I say aye. Eric? Aye.
Motion carries. Okay. Annually, the board must also select a newspaper where official district notices, the agenda, and minutes will be published. Currently, we're using the Weston Daily News. Is there a motion on this end? All in favor? Aye. Aye. Any opposed? The motion carries. We're moving on to letter E, approval of regular board meeting and budget hearing times and dates. A meeting schedule is drafted for most fourth Tuesdays of the month with adjustments in the months of August, October, December, March, and April. The budget annual meeting would be in October and the organizational meeting remains in April. Is there a motion? And the time of 6 p.m. is included in that motion, just making sure. Okay. Then all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Well, at this point, the motion carries with a 4-to-1 vote. So we can deal with those maybe as one-off since we get closer, or maybe like an alternate solution, but that motion is closed. All right, we're moved on to item number 6, which is our Staff of the Year presentations. We are celebrating Pam Fechty as our Support Staff of the Year and Liz Olenchnik as our Teacher of the Year. And are you going to read the summaries? I'm going to turn it over to Dr. Villalobos for this, but congratulations to you both. This will be a photo opportunity, so board members, I will ask you to move forward in a little bit, and Ms. Olenek, if I can call you to the front.
Speech.
So Ms. Olenek is our Teacher of the Year. She currently teaches 3rd grade for us, but that is not all she has done for us throughout her career. I'm not going to read the entire certificate up here to you, but Liz has seen this previously. Liz received her Bachelor of Science degree from the University of Wisconsin-Stevens Point in 1999, where she majored in elementary education with a minor in early education. Ms. Olenek began teaching at Hartford Joint 1 as a part-time kindergarten teacher for Lincoln Elementary in 2001. She moved out of the area for a few years, and then she returned to Hartford in 2005 and taught at Rossman Elementary. In 2007, she transferred back to Lincoln Elementary to begin teaching 3rd grade. So not only has she impacted kids in this building, but she's also impacted kids, well, actually in this building that we're standing in, but at both elementary buildings, which is outstanding. And then in 2007, she went back to school and earned her master's degree with an emphasis in curriculum and instruction from the University of St. Thomas. She's a dedicated teacher to the School District of Hartford Joint 1 and is an inspiration to all who have the privilege of watching her teach daily. She has unwavering dedication, outstanding teaching abilities, and makes remarkable contributions to our school community. All of these things have helped her earn this award and this honor. We appreciate her commitment to fostering and nurturing an inclusive learning environment for her students. And some of those, just to mention a few, she is incredibly involved with our Veterans Day programming, which I was treated to for the first time this November. And then she also has been involved in various extracurricular activities and initiatives. And so we just greatly appreciate your support. You've done a lot of things, not only for our students, but also for our staff with professional development through Hartford area schools and our peer review mentor grant. We also know that those things extend into the community through the Ronald McDonald House, Toys for Tots, and then supporting the troops. So I would love to shake your right hand right now, but I'm holding this plaque, and I also have the mic here. So I'm going to hand you this, and then we're going to shake hands. Congratulations.
Oh. That wasn't the end, and I did put the microphone down, but I promised to speak loudly. So this is your Teacher of the Year award on behalf of the School District of Hartford Joint 1. So it is very breakable. Be very careful with it. We're giving you lots of holds, but congratulations. Yes. You go in there, and then we'll do one with administrators. This is very artistic. And then we'll have Neil come on over. Yes. Neil is a good
Okay, Pam Frecti, it's your turn. So Pamela Frecti is our support staff member of the year. And this is my first time going through this in the School District of Hartford Joint 1 because it's my first year here. But I have to tell you, I can't imagine that it happens every day or every year when we do these awards, that an individual is nominated not once or twice, but what did I tell you, 7 or 8 times? An incredible amount of times. And just not only from other support staff members, but from teachers that you work with, you are just an incredible asset to the district. And so I'm so honored to, one, have presented you the award back when we met in your classroom, and now to talk about you in front of the school board. So Pam Frecti began working at Hartford Joint 1 in 1995 as a teacher's aide. Just so that way you know, it was also at Rossman Elementary. So Rossman has its roots in these awards. During her time with the district, Ms. Frecti has worked at both Rossman Elementary and Central Middle School. And in addition to her regularly scheduled hours, she has worked both after school and with summer school students throughout her 29 years of service to the district. She has unwavering dedication, compassion, and commitment both to our students and to our staff. And there were so many things when we were reading your application that not only were observed in supporting our students, in working with them after school, but also in supporting the staff and just really working behind the scenes to make Central Middle School a friendly and welcoming place where staff members wanted to be, and so she's done a lot with culture. She has a willingness to listen, to validate, and to guide students through their challenges, and she fosters a supportive environment which helps students feel empowered to make positive changes. And so when we were looking at these awards, one of the big things she talked about was the progress that individual students make. And so I won't read that specifically, but you can tell that she is here to make sure that she's supporting students in all aspects of learning and growing. She also is involved beyond the walls of the classroom, and she has done Heroes Club, which meets once a month and provides a safe space for students with disabilities to make friends and to build their social confidence. So Pam, we just are so thankful to have you as a member of our team. And just like I said to Liz, I didn't learn my lesson. I'm going to hand you this and then we'll shake hands.
Also presenting Hartford support staff member. And then could I have all the administrators come over and Liz? You can just share all of that, it's okay.
Oh.
All right, smile here. Take a couple. Took it up. Thank you, thank you.
Stay. Thank you.
Congrats again to both of you, and thank you for all that you have done and continue to do. We appreciate it so much. At this time, are there any citizens' delegations to be heard? There are not. Okay, so we're going to move on to the district administrator's report. So we're going to start with the district updates, and that will be Dr. Villalobos. I'm going to bring this over to him.
Okay, the very first thing that I'd like to share is that Staff Appreciation Week. Oh, I'm going to hand it back to you.
We forgot we reorganized our agenda. And so this time we're going to jump forward to action item number 1, which is the Rossman PTO donation to Rossman Elementary School. The Rossman PTO is donating $2,259 for the purchase and installation of 2 Gaga bag pits and $1,120 for the purchase of Malmark choir chimes. Is there a motion?
To approve Rossman PTO donation of $33.79 for the purchase and installation of 2 Gaga ball pits, purchase of a set of Walmart choir.
Second. Any discussion on that? the chimes that Mr. Boyle uses in his room to help with, I don't know if they're just instrumental or if they also help with singing,
Almost like
like a bell, yeah. I know that they had done some, I think we purchased some already, and this is another installment of them, if I recall.
there are 4 sets.
Okay, so there's 2 more sets coming. Okay, different range, I think, yeah. The Gaga ball pit is an outdoor, okay. Well, someone might not know. It's an outdoor recreational activity for the kids to play at recess. It's not related to Lady Gaga, no. There is a ball involved though. Okay, with that, then we'll do a roll call vote.
I say aye. Ed? Tom? Mark? I say aye.
Motion carries. And then we're gonna do a photo op, I believe, with the PTO. Come on down.
Yes, you're right. Oh, yeah. We take the check.
Thank you so much to Rossman PTO for that donation. I know that that will be a huge impact not only on our students, but also on our teaching. So thank you. Moving on to district updates. We had an event today after school. It was our April staff event. We used the fish philosophy last year and in previous years. This year, our ultimate in service was Star Wars themed because I am a nerd. Now we have that on video. And so it was Force themed. We used the Force. And so we had about 100 staff members there today. It was a very nice turnout. We rolled at Dave's Lanes, and then we also had ice cream from Scoop DeVille. So we appreciate our community partners, and it was a nice place and a nice opportunity for our staff members to reflect on the year that they've had and just enjoy some time together. And that leads right into staff appreciation, which is coming up the first week of May, the first full week of May that is, and that's May 6th through 10th. So we do have a proclamation that I will be reading, and then board members, I would ask that after tonight's meeting, you can come and gather with Ms. Hoffman so we can all sign this. It indicates that whereas the dedicated team members of Hartford Joint 1 continue to uphold the values of student success, and whereas Hartford Joint 1 team members remain committed to recognizing and nurturing individual strengths, accommodating diverse learning styles, and fostering a culture of inclusivity and belonging, and whereas Hartford Joint 1 team members continuously demonstrate support for one another, sharing expertise, nurturing student interests, and striving for excellence, and whereas Hartford Joint 1 team members prioritize transparent communication to enhance education within the district. Therefore, be it resolved that the Hartford Joint 1 Board of Education officially declares the week of May 6th through 10th, 2024 as School Staff Appreciation Week and urges the entire community of the Hartford Joint 1 School District to express gratitude and appreciation for all members of our school district team. So we are thankful for everyone who works for the school district of Hartford Joint 1. Does not matter the role that you play in this district, you are valued. and you make sure that our kids get what they need, so that way they have a full and well-rounded education. So again, board members, if I could have you sign that after the board meeting. The next thing is the HUHS has a youth apprenticeship, and that is an opportunity for our high school students to have time that is released from high school where they can earn credit and get work experience. We know that there's a teacher shortage, not just in our area, but across the nation. And so our youth apprenticeship is an opportunity for us to start to help students understand if teaching is what is interesting to them and what they would like to do and have a passion for their future. So I'm very proud of Teresa Azoff, one of our teams of students, soon to be assistant principal next year. She and our other team worked really hard in terms of making sure that we were cooperating with the high school, had lots of opportunities for her to speak at the high school and share with the high school students opportunities about youth apprenticeship. And that has resulted in us having not one but 2 youth apprenticeship students next year. So these are both Hartford Union High School students who are interested in pursuing education when they go to college. We have Kaylin Burl, who will be with Ms. Zuki in 5K at Rossman, and Maya Nelson, who will be with Ms. Bailey in 1st grade at Lincoln. So again, a great opportunity not only for our district, but also for those students. The next thing that I have as an update is the parent survey. So as board members, you're aware that earlier this year, around Thanksgiving time and in December, our staff members participated in the Gallup Employee Engagement Survey. And then we also, around that same time, surveyed our middle school students on their engagement in health. And so this is that 3rd prong of interviewing and surveying our stakeholders. So this parent survey, a draft is included for you. It's already been sent to Marla Perfect in order to translate it into Spanish. And our intention is to send this out to parents in our community to complete for each of their children during the month of May. And then we'll, as an administrative team, be looking through this and gathering feedback over the summer. We will make a report out to the board in the summer, June or July, depending on when we have all of the results tallied. And then look to see what we can implement for future years in terms of improvement, as well as what are the areas of celebration that we should be touting more. President Welk, would you like me to move on to board updates? That'd be great. Okay. So when we talked about Staff Appreciation Week, there is an opportunity for board members to be involved. And so you will notice that there's a possible quorum of the board on May 7th, 8th, and 9th. That is an opportunity for each of you to come and help serve breakfast to our staff teams here in the buildings. That is in the morning, so we love it if you can come. Because we already have it posted, you do not need to notify me that you'll be able to attend. You can just attend, and we would love your help. All of the dates are included along with the building location. And then following our Lincoln date, we will also have an opportunity to tour Lincoln's exterior, so that way you can follow up a little bit more with some of the presentation we'll hear today in preparation for the board retreat on May 9th, which is the other board update. And so we will have our board retreat on May 9th. That will be from approximately 4 to 8 p.m. I am looking for dinner selection, so whoever speaks first, I will look into that. If it is local, convenient, and we can get here while we are meeting for the retreat. We will begin with Ted Knightsky from CISA 6, and then we will move into an update from PRA. And so PRA is here to present to us this evening. They will be doing a more focused lens on Lincoln School on May 9th. And that concludes the board updates that I have for you.
Thank you so much, Dr. Villalobos. We're going to move on to our discussion, which is we're starting with our spotlight on learning. I'll ask Mrs. Brandt to come up. She's going to share with us an overview of the art shows that the students are participating in and any awards that they received, as well as how many pieces of artwork are in the district show now. So I'm going to bring this up to you because I think we're going to have to use it. So it's on the.
I use my quiet teacher voice.
It's for the recording, it's not for the.
Oh.
It's for the people at home.
All right. Thank you for this opportunity. There's been a lot going on in the art program for all three of the schools all year. The culmination was the art show. We had to make quick planning to change our location this year. And so with the help of purchasing some trifold walls, we were able to get the show at the public library. It went up last Thursday and it's coming down tomorrow after our reception. And we ended up with 275 pieces there, 108 from Lincoln, 108 from Rossman, 112 from Lincoln, and 55 from Central. The numbers were much lower for Central because most of the work that was saved for Central School were all of our 3D pieces, and pottery, and there really was no place to safely display all of that. So we had to rely on just showing our 2D pieces instead. So there's a nice variety of pieces there, and all of the administration were given awards and school board members to go through and select their favorite pieces, and the students will get those awards with a description of why those pieces were chosen. That will be given to them when we take the show down. And then some additional outreach that has happened at Lincoln Elementary. They participated in an Art to Remember fundraiser, and it was designed for the Lincoln PTO. Estimated funds to reach approximately $2,000. Through the program, parents could purchase custom keepsakes featuring their child's artwork, and the Lincoln PTO keeps the profit to be used for playground equipment, field trips, and other incentives. They also participated and helped out with the family night and hosted family bookmark coloring opportunities and created a photo prop opportunity to be used by staff, families, and students. They collaborated with Hartford Union High School, intro to art classes, and third and fifth grade students created drawings of hybrid creatures where they had to combine parts of different animals. And then those were handed to the intro to art students, and they created big paper mache models of them. And those models have then since been returned to Lincoln and Rossman and were on display, and then they swapped the display. Those same drawings are being used this semester with 4 new groups of intro to art students that are creating new sculptures. They also worked with Lincoln worked with music and Fayette teachers and decorated the gym for the annual holiday program, worked with third grade teachers to decorate the gym for the Veterans Day program, designed a thank you poster for staff to sign honoring Mr. Pribler's honor flight, collaborated with other classroom teachers to design posters for Lionize assemblies, painted collaborative artwork for the fun fair to raise money for PTO, Wisconsin State Capitol Christmas tree, 4th grade made Christmas tree ornaments that represented Wisconsin celebrating 105 years of statehood, and also offered opportunities for students to participate in Doodle for Google and voting sticker design contest. At Rossman, they also hosted the bookmark coloring for family night. They were also very initiative in the hybrid sculptures, and I had the opportunity to work with that with my teaching at the intro to art class at the high school, and so I did it first semester and now doing it again second semester. And so it's fun to see how the high school students take those drawings and we give them like not just one drawing, they have to take like 3 or 4 and then take parts of all of them and pull them together. So it's kind of fun watching the older kids create them and then get them back in the hands of the younger students. So they also collaborated at Rossman with the music and Fayette teachers to design and decorate the gym for the holiday program and created a family photo booth for the program and ongoing peer mentor program with 4th and 5th grade students volunteering to help during recess once a week to help assist kindergarten students in the art room. And they too offered, Robin also offered Wisconsin Conservation Poster Contest, Doodle for Google, and voting sticker design contest. And lastly, at Central, we also hosted the family bookmark coloring in the art room. Art students created designs for the yearbook cover, and then 15 of those designs were selected for the student body to vote and the top 2 vote winners are going to be the front and back of the yearbook covers. I worked with a student to help create a thank you poster to honor Mr. Privor's honor flight. I had 75 students participate in the Lions International Peace Poster Contest. This year's theme was Dare to Dream. And one of our 6th grade students, Durga Anurag, was the winner at the local level. It went on to the district level. And she also received 1st place at the district level. And I just actually received her poster back in the mail today. Unfortunately, it didn't go any further, but for a 6th grade student, that was quite an honor. The Wisconsin Art Ed Association that I'm a member of has every year celebrates Youth Art Month. 5 pieces went on to the regional show down in Brookfield, and from there 3 pieces went on to Madison, and we're on display for the month of March in Madison. This year, instead of the art show at the University Extension in West Bend, the art teachers in West Bend decided to try and put together a Washington County Youth Art Month exhibit. And so for the first year, it was at the Hall over in West Bend, and for the month of March. And so I had 10 students that had worked there, and honored to say that Bailey Strobel received honorable mention in the 2D art category, and then Lily Raymer got 2nd place with her clay piece. Lily Nestor received 1st place with her clay piece. So that was quite a good experience as well. Many of my art students also participated in helping with things for the musical. And so they helped create some of the props, like the big bright letters that are used in one of the songs. They painted kites for another song, and they helped me create the large collaborative sculpture that's available for photo ops in the hallway. And I also try to make contests available, like Doodle for Google and the voting contest. I make it available if students take it around. So we've been very busy all year and very exhausted, but it's been very worthwhile to see the kids and their creativity. So thank you for that opportunity.
Thank you, Mrs. Brandt. And I'll just say the musical is running one more weekend at the middle school. It's very poppin'. So the kites are for Let's Go Fly Kite, and the letters are for that song, supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, which I won't spell, but they do in the show. We're talking next about the library media plan. Each district must periodically update a library plan. Ours has been updated to align with DPI's recommendations. And for this, I'm going to pass it over to Mrs. Hewlett, who's going to give us an update.
And so before Mrs. Hampton begins, I just want to introduce this. This is a plan that needs to be reviewed on an annual basis, so this will not be the last time you hear about this. This is Ms. Hamlin's first time going through this planning process. She did it in collaboration with Jennifer Bailey, who is the library media specialist at Grace Lake Elementary School. The 2 of them did an outstanding job. Everything that you'll see is based on the standards. After Ms. Hamlin worked on this, she presented it to Dr. Rogatska, and then the 3 of us had before bringing it to you. So very proud of the work that you'll see. You will see some blank spots throughout the presentation, and that's because we have an opportunity to reflect at the end of each year and throughout each year on the steps and measures that we plan to take.
Good evening, board members, staff, and administration. Thanks for providing me another opportunity to talk with you about our amazing libraries here in Hartford. I enjoyed sharing last month about our fun and excitement for Read Across America Week, and I hope that all the bookmarks that were created by students are finding their ways in some good books you're currently reading. Tonight I will share with you the library media plan for the next 3 years. This plan was, as Dr. Villalobos said, created by a team of us. The opening of the plan states, that's here, I'm sorry, I apologize, it's so small for you guys, but it does state that in consideration of the Hartford Joint mission statement and the school board goals to stay compliant with Wisconsin's Administrative Code PI 8.022H, the plan aligns with the Future Ready Library Framework and the Wisconsin Digital Learning Plan to support student achievement and provide equitable resources to all, and fosters digital citizenship and literacy. The plan adheres to both district policies, DPI guidelines, and follows state and federal library laws regarding school libraries and programming. As you can see, there is a colorful wheel that the framework's provided with us. Makes me think of playing Trivial Pursuit as a kid, definitely gets that vibe. And it helps us better understand all the components that go along with understanding a future-ready library. As we go through the plan, the colors of the plan do correlate to its original graphic, and it has 8 pieces, so it does take a minute to go through them all. The proposed library media plan opening mission statement is that the libraries in the Hartford Joint One School District strive to be a welcoming heart of our learning community where all are welcome to learn, discover, create, and connect. We are committed to honoring the reading interests and needs of our students, supporting a school community that celebrates reading, providing access to resources to support the use of literacy skills for curricula, assisting staff in their efforts to successfully implement curriculum, and creating a safe and welcoming and purposeful learning environment. At the heart of the wheel is the learner-centered literacy, and it's intentionally placed in the middle because it is to hinge on all the other components of the plan. It is to inspire and support reading lives of both students and teachers. And it is defined as creating inclusive collections that acknowledge and celebrate diverse experiences and provide instructional opportunities to empower learners as effective users and creators of information and ideas. After we looked at the idea, our Hartford Joint One goal is in student-centered literacy is to maintain and enhance our current collection. Then collaborate with teachers and see where we can improve learning opportunities. Working towards this goal in the next school year, we're going to compare and analyze the populations of our district collections to that of our student populations. And second, identify instructional opportunities for each grade level that empowers learners as effective users and creators. Then in the following years, we'll work with CNI to see if there is improvements needed in the collections, and then build opportunities for classrooms to use our collections and technology, and then also provide professional development for our staff to support that. In the category of curriculum, instruction, and assessment portion of the plan, it is for the libraries who are responsible for curating digital resources, building instructional partnerships, and empowering the students as creators. The Hartford Joint One goal will be to establish a scope and sequence for the informational and technology standards from the state of Wisconsin. And then secondly, to establish a budget that adheres to that plan to maintain that scope and sequence, and make sure that our digital resources are available to all students. And then in the following years, we will work with the ELA committee to make sure that we are able to implement those information and technology standards into ELA parts that are able to, and maintain and update digital collections as needed. The dark blue is our personalized professional learning, which is meant to be learning by leading professional learning of others. Our goal is ties to our student literacy and the previous one about curriculum. It is hoped that the Hartford Joint One goal is to increase awareness of digital literacy and the skills that students need to be future ready. So the main task is to make sure that we identify and share those information and technology standards, and also because the framework is newer, making sure that our staff are aware of the framework. And in the following years, it will be like a curriculum, working with ELA committees to make sure that we are finding that those standards well in our ELA curriculums. Still going, guys. No, we're on the red one. We're thinking a little shorter now there. Our red portion is for a robust infrastructure, and it is designed as ensuring equitable digital access, provides and advocates equitable access to collection tools using digital resources, programming, and service support to the school's district strategic plan. And our goal is to assess the current access and determine future goals. So this is where Dr. Villalobos says it might be a little bit more big, because we're just not sure where we are, and we're going to assess that. The orange section is our section about budget and resources. The Future Ready model encourages schools to invest strategically in digital resources, leveraging an understanding of school and community needs to identify and invest on digital resources such as books, ebooks to support student learning. Like our infrastructure, next section, our task is to develop a needs assessment to see where we should go from here in determining student interests in different print and digital resources. And from those needs assessments, we will then in year 2 and 3 make a decision. The gray area is community partnerships. And in that area, we cultivate community partnerships. This is defined as within the school and community, including families, caregivers, nonprofits, organizations, and governments, that we as libraries engage and promote community of readers. Our goal is to develop strong ties with our partnerships, first by networking with our community agencies to determine potential, and then from that point on, continue to foster them. The dark green one is data and privacy. The library advocates for student privacy, teaches and promotes students' data and privacy through his or her instruction and the role as an educational leader. This section has an overlap with our curriculum because data and privacy is blended into the information and technology standards. So our goal is to create within that scope and sequence, be mindful of that data privacy is integrated into digital literacy skills, and also work together with the technology department to provide training and understanding to staff around data privacy, federal data privacy law policies, and district data privacy. The teal section is designs collaborative spaces. This is defined as providing flexible spaces that promote inquiry, creativity, and community. Our goal is to provide a space that is welcoming to all members of the school community and is focused on developing a love of learning in many forms. Our goal for the 3-year cycle is to refine the current library practices to align with a goal of creating routines and procedures for the use of the library space. Determine ways to increase the use of the library and the library resources for students, staff, and students, and cosmetic updates to enhance the environment and increase book circulation numbers. The final dark purple is collaborative leadership, and it means leading beyond the library, participates in setting the school district vision and strategic plan for digital learning, and fosters a culture of collaboration and innovation to empower teachers and learners. Hartford Joint One's goal is to foster a culture of collaboration and innovation to empower teachers and learners. This goal ties nicely to the goals of the plan. The first task is to network with the school community to determine potential collaborative opportunities. Then we'll implement those in the future years. And got through this. So thank you very much for your time. This was very lengthy, so thank you for your patience. You'll notice that below each task, there is an area, I'll go back to one, that is blank, and that is, as Dr. Villalobos said, something we will read as I go through the years, put updates on how we are maintaining those. Thank you.
So you will notice this is also an action item later this evening, but so that Ms. Hanlon would not have to wait for the whole board meeting, I have her present to you now. So if you do have any questions or want any further.
No questions? It's not clickable though from the one agenda. You have to Okay. Thank you very much, Mrs. Hanlon. Our next discussion. Sorry, I lost my place. Administrative report, building and grounds update.
Briefly, want to give a short buildings and grounds update before we head into some additional information. District office, probably our most critical thing that we're working on right now. Reconstruction's going well. All the painting has been completed. Carpet staff is on site. The carpet was delivered last week, and the staff started putting it in on Monday. We're probably halfway done with the upstairs already. The boardroom is being used for storage of equipment, desks, and just things. So that's going to be probably one of the last things that they end up doing up there. But they'll take care of most of the upstairs area, and then they'll start working on the downstairs area. The plan is to finish carpeting by the end of next week, so that our stuff that's in the storage pod and also over at Crossroads can be moved over by Service Master before Friday the 3rd, because we are scheduled to have the district office parking lot repaved. So they're working hard to get all that stuff done. The paving, of course, is weather dependent, so we'll see if it actually ends up on the 3rd or not. But they're aware of kind of that project, and they like to have at least things moved into the building, whether they're placed or not, is something else. And they'll have to clean, of course, so they've been trying to clean as they go, especially as we put our new carpet in, not to get it too dusty and dirty. But inevitably, when we stuff back, we're gonna have some cleanup there. And then that'll give us a good chance to kind of spring clean and make sure that we have records that maybe we weren't storing in permanent storage, get that taken care of, be able to purge some things that we don't need anymore. And while we were targeting to be in at the end of May, I'd say it's probably pretty likely that we'll be in sometime toward the middle of May. So I'm sure the staff that are stationed here in Rossman will be glad to know that we'll be back somewhat close to normal pretty soon. So does anybody have any questions about that project? Edward? Yes. Yeah, so the grassy knolls are actually outside of our property area. However, we did talk to a representative from over there that it's WB's, or the former WB Places property technically. But we talked to him about whether we can take care of those grassy knolls, and yes, he said go right ahead. So. Yeah, so they'll take everything out, they'll put new base down. We actually put a curb up against the building, the area between the front door and the street where there was rocks kind of holding in that flower bed. We took those rocks out and put a curb in so that there'd be a nice spot to run the asphalt up to, so that plowing and such, it just should work for a better maintenance situation. They'll put the base down, then they'll, after they get done with the base, they'll repave, and then we'll have to stay off it, and they'll line it, and then the whole process should take a week again, weather dependent. Done?
How much of the project is being?
Almost, well, the parking lot was an item on our summer maintenance list, so that we're taking care of just in conjunction with this. We'll pay our deductible for the project. There are some minor things that we're going to have to or want to cover. Specifically, probably the biggest impact is they assessed the carpet situation, and there was one spot that they felt could be cleaned and repaired. It was one of the spots that had literally 3 inches of standing water on it. And when they extracted the water, it was black and disgusting. So we decided to remove that piece of carpeting and replace it with what is all around it. So that'll be at our cost. The paint, we needed to make sure that the paint was covering. We've been working with Service Master. We think the paint will still come in where they had estimated, so we don't think there's gonna be any additional expense with painting. We did get a chance to take care of the kind of pinkish paint color and go into something that's, should be a lot more presentable and modern perhaps. Yeah, we'll only have to pay our deductible. Okay. I'll keep the microphone for a second. The next piece on the agenda is the Pluck and Racich facility maintenance and planning list. So as you remember, we contracted Pluck and Racich to do a facility assessment in order so we could update our long-range capital expenditure plan that supports our Fund 46 investments that we make. So Mr. Ratchell's getting that presentation on the screen. We have representatives from Pluck and Racich and from Myron Construction here tonight. Devin and Melissa are here from Pluck and Racich, and Andre and Megan are here from Myron, and we'll let them present. There will be spots where I might jump in for a comment or two, but this is them presenting their facility assessment.
Thank you very much, Mr. Majerus. And thank you to the tech team for the assistance here. I'd also like to give a big thank you to the whole leadership team. As you've been a resource to us, as well as to the Board of Education for having us here tonight. Members of PRA and also Myron Construction, we're super excited to be able to share this update to facilities planning with you. Might not be the most exciting thing, but for us architects and CMs, this is something that's very exciting. We are excited to share this update with you, and then also really have a deeper conversation when it comes to May 9th. So looking forward to that board retreat, but this will be a great precursor to that. To go through our agenda, I'm going to hand it over to Megan Prescott.
All right, good evening. Like Devin said, we are excited to be here today. I am Megan Prescott. I am the education leader at Myron. I'll introduce myself but later, but first, all right, we'll talk about why we're here. So Devin had mentioned that we're going to go through the facilities assessment, and yes, it is exciting. I'll show you some fun things, but big picture, we're going to talk about what the facilities planning process is and how we are helping the district navigate that. And then we're going to go through our timeline of when you started and where our end goal is and what's happening in between. Then you'll get to see the fun stuff in the facilities assessment. And then Andre, my team member at Myron, will talk about the cost and how that has been tied into the facilities assessment and where that then transitions into. And then we'll talk about next steps and coming back on May 9th. So with that being said, our teams here, I will start, like I said, I am Megan Prescott and I lead our education market at Myron. So what does that mean? That means I spend all of my time with pre-K-12 school districts across the state, assessing needs, understanding facilities needs, and potential solutions and options for communities. So I've been at Myron for 10 years now, and I also on this project am facilitating the strategy and our internal Myron team. So I'll let Andre introduce himself. He's a pivotal part of this team. But then another person who's not with us today, but also a pivotal team member is Daniel. He's our conceptual estimator. So that means he puts the numbers together. He spends all of his time in the estimating world. And so the numbers that we're providing today are real-time market numbers based on what we're seeing today in real-time market. So Andre will talk about the estimating process, but that's Daniel. Daniel did all of that. We're just here sharing his message tonight.
Thank you, Megan. Again, my name is Andre Lorenzen. I'm the customer executive for this project. So again, I'm the liaison from pre-construction, this facility assessment, the pricing, and handing over to the build team. So I help the team here to review numbers, review scope, and do constructability to make sure we're actually pricing what we need to do, and then carry through construction, transferring all the information over with schedules and pricing for the rest of the team. So that's kind of what I'm doing this for the project.
Hi, good evening. It's nice to see you all and congratulations to those of you new to the school board. My name is Melissa Thompson and I am here joining you with Plunkett Research Architects as the Director of Education Strategy. Prior to this year, actually I'm new to PRA as of July 1st. Prior to that, I was an educational administrator, superintendent in the area for 12 years prior. So I come to you with my background in 25 years of education. In fact, coming to Hartford is like coming home. I did teach over at the high school early in my career, so it's awesome to be back here in Hartford with you all. And I am a part of our team that is hearing what the district's needs are, kind of that liaison between the more facilities assessment piece and looking at what are we trying to do from a curriculum and programming standpoint, and trying to serve as that liaison to try to make sure that all of the plans moving forward are going to advance those goals as well as just the things that might need to be fixed for maintenance purposes. So it's great to see you all.
And as Adam introduced me, I'm Devin Jack. I'm a partner at PRA. I'm also an architect. I've been there for 18 years, focusing almost solely, like 3 projects over the last 10 years. So all K-12 education. Again, excited to be back with you.
All right, next slide. So, like any good project, it starts with a plan. So planning on where are we going? And we're always looking backwards from a target date, right? So knowing that we are starting the facilities assessment process, which PRA will go doing a little deeper dive as to what the facilities assessment is. For the sake of this timeline here, there's 2 components that we're looking at. We have the facilities assessment and then the master planning options. And so we targeted the May 9th board workshop as having the whole package tied up. And that's when we'll be coming back on May 9th. But the process actually started in February, when we started by understanding the facilities needs, and that's what we're here today for. So the facilities assessment is really just an understanding of your building, and the building systems, and a current status of where you are today. Then we have the other aspect of it, and then we also have that educational component of it that leads to the master planning options that we'll discuss a little bit later. So over the last month and a half, this team has been walking through your buildings, talking with staff, meeting as a core team, and that's both Tara and Adam and us, Myron and PRA team members, to just continue driving the bus, going down this path. And then we are here tonight sharing the facilities assessment with you. We'll come back on the 9th with the master planning component. So that's more of the additions, renovations, what you could look at, the what ifs. So that's a little bit about where we're going and where we have been. Next slide.
I don't have a lot as it relates to this presentation, but the why now part of it. So again, board members, whether you were here or not, you understand that we have a Fund 46 Capital Improvement Trust that we make contributions for long-term type facility needs. There needs to be a plan that goes along that supports that investment. We created a plan when the trust was opened, and we made contributions most every year since that trust has been opened. But as time passes on and conditions in our buildings change and prices obviously change, we need to update that plan periodically. In fact, I think I've talked to a couple of you specifically about that. So again, we contracted Plunkett Research to facilitate this plan procedure, and they'll come up and share their findings with you. We know that there's maintenance needs across the entire district, and some may be more urgent than others. So we just want to make sure, again, that we're getting those urgent needs addressed, but we want to make sure that we're looking across the district, across our $120 million worth of buildings, to make sure that we're knowing exactly where we're sitting. Lastly, again, it's my goal, Tara's goal, administration's goal, to make sure that not only are we maintaining adequate buildings, there's a debt and a financial component to this. And so we want to make sure that we maintain a series of debt so that as projects need to occur, we can borrow money as needed, and we can help keep the tax levy smooth, which is a big goal for, I would think, most of our constituent group. We don't want to see the peaks and valleys in terms of borrowing and not having debt and borrowing big chunks. We'd rather keep the environment smooth, and so that, again, our constituents can plan their finances out accordingly.
All right, let's get to it. So at PRA, we have a 5-step long-range facility planning process. Today, we're going to be talking about step 1. That's the facility condition assessment. This can be a standalone component of a longer-range plan. And I think one of the most important outcomes, really, of tonight and the process that we've been through today is the handing over of a prioritized maintenance list. So as we all have a home or rent an apartment, there has to be continued maintenance on those types of things, right? If you have a condo, you might have an HOA that takes care of some of those things. If you're a homeowner, eventually you're going to have to replace your roof, or you're going to have to do something with your mailbox if the plow made the snow hit it in the wrong direction, right? There's going to be some maintenance things. So that's really what we're kind of addressing tonight. So facilities will have a prioritized maintenance list that they can use as a framework kind of for the next 10 years. And again, it fulfills those requirements that Adam spoke about with Fund 46. So before we get started, let's talk a little bit about how we rank buildings and how kind of do we break all of this down, right? I'm going to go through a high level of a lot of information that we'll be able to jump into a little bit more detail on the night, but there's a lot of background that goes to this. So as Megan had mentioned, back in February, members of our team and her team were on site while there was a professional development day. Really nice that we could get it outside of normal school hours, or inside of normal school hours, so that we could have that assessment throughout that whole day and have everybody's heads in the right frame of mind. So what we look at when we do that, we look at the site. So we look at hard surface and drainage, exterior and interior material condition. We also look at accessibility. So, right, ADA is a federal law that was enacted in 1990. And depending on the age of buildings, buildings are in compliance or they can be brought up to compliance. We also have our engineers, so we have MEP, mechanical, electrical, and plumbing engineers walk the buildings with us, tour around with Mr. Carroll and his team. Another acronym you might hear is HVAC, so that's the mechanical side of things, heating, ventilating, and air conditioning. And so we look at those categories, and what we do is this is a non-destructive. So it's not like we're opening up a wall or we're taking all the ceiling tiles out. This is a non-destructive testing. So we're having a visual review of all the elements of the building. So looking in the boiler room, walking around the building, opening up doors, going in rooms, that kind of thing. So those are the categories that we look at and how we look at them. Let's look at how we rank kind of the condition of them. So you're going to see the stoplight on the left-hand side with different condition categories: good to fair, poor, and red. Right. So red is bad, green is good. We can all understand that. With those conditions, so good is, it's everything's exceeding expectations. Really, nothing anticipated for the next 15 years. If we go down to fair, there's really no major needs for the next 5 years or so, but items may be nearing their expected service life. If we look at fair to poor, components are likely past their service life. And then if we look at something that's poor, really what we're addressing is something that should be remediated or fixed within the next couple years because it's nearing failure. With poor, we also attribute that to, in the maintenance list, to a level 1. The fair to poor is a level 2, and then fair is a level 3. I'm going to go slow. This is confusing. I'm sorry. There's lots here. With again, level 1, so those are kind of immediate needs again. 0 to 2 years, we want to make sure that that stuff gets done right away. Level 2 is fair to poor, so 3 to 5 years, right, is that next range. And right, we want to know what's coming down the road. So we look at that category level, and then we also look beyond. But if we stay in level 2, what might that be? So at Lincoln, there's a specific example. If you walk down the 3rd grade classroom wing, there's some VCT if you walk down that wing, and it's got a lot of spider cracking and stuff. And right, it's serviceable right now, but over the next few years, we want to make sure that there's a plan to address it. Things that are in level 3, right, they're in more of a serviceable condition. Nothing's going to be coming up to immediate failure. And something I want to note is that nothing that I'm reporting on is like, right, we're not, there's nothing that is in dire need that needs to be fixed, this second, or, school's going to continue. This is just fine. Nothing, there's nothing that extreme or anything. And I also want to mention that your facilities team, Billy and Browns, they're doing a great job. There's a bunch of stuff that's beyond its life expectancy, and that's because they're doing a good job. They're putting extra grease on bearings. They're cleaning out vents and ductworks and that kind of thing. All of these things that we're bringing up, this is stuff that happens across the entire state, across our entire country. It is normal wear and tear and age for buildings that you have.
Well, we're going to start going a little more in depth tonight with Central Middle School. So we're going to kind of take you from middle school backwards. So first of all, just so that you're aware, the size of the site at the middle school is 79.8 acres. The building was completed in 1991. This is the middle school, which includes grades 6 through 8, and it currently has 452 students. For maintenance items, again, back to the ranking form that Devin just shared, the site rates out at fair, the exterior fair, the interior good to fair, and the same is true for the systems. And with some additional information, I will hand it back to Devin.
Thanks, Melissa. So, right, this is probably sugarcoated a little too much, right? Because there's still things that need to be replaced, even though there's things that are good to fair within the interior as well as the systems, and then the site as well. So jumping into the site, right, Melissa mentioned an 8-acre parcel. Majority of it actually is in a wetland area or is set aside for the wildcat habitat. So that's a fun fact and an interesting thing for the school. We begin by starting to understand, okay, how is the site utilized? Is what we're looking at need to function for this moving forward in the future? And if we look at the site, the answer is absolutely yes. One big thing that is of higher need is the bottom picture there, the south parking lot. Probably original to the building. It's got a lot of cracking and cleaning snow and stuff on it. You can see that it's becoming a challenge. Something else that we point out is the canopy. It is great to have a canopy to welcome kiddos and visitors into the building, but when the sides of it bring the water off the roof and drain it right over the sidewalk, with the different climate that we have in our state, that can become increasingly tricky and difficult to manage at times. So that's one of the exterior things that we want to make sure is controlled. You're going to see a running theme for each of the buildings for exterior, some of the interior things, as well as some of the accessibility things that I bring up. Another one is just uncontrolled rainwater runoff or storm runoff from weather events, or even just snow melting off of the building. When it's not controlled, then it can erode the soil and it can begin to cause issues with the building foundation. Typically anything that's an exterior thing that's dealing with the building envelope, so the exterior walls, we commonly rate that as a level 1 because we want to keep warm, dry air inside. We want to keep cold and wet air or vice versa out of the building. It has an adverse impact on many different things. That inside, honestly, the building is maybe not. Some of the finishes maybe not looking the best, right? But from a facility functional standpoint, many of the building is functioning well from interior finishes. So really, these are kind of stretches here with some areas of casework and some door hardware or doors in our room there, and then there's a sizable crack that we want to fix up in the science prep room. Largely, that's from a cleanliness standpoint. If we're working with chemicals or anything back there, we want to make sure that we can clean those things up. Accessibility is going to be another trend. Again, I mentioned 1990. Well, if we jump back to the first slide of Central Middle School, doors opened in 1991. If it's right, so it was under construction from like 90 to 91. If that date was a couple years later, so it was in design, the building would look different from an ADA standpoint. So right now we've got height concerns with sinks and work surfaces in rooms or restrooms, accessible toilet stalls not being provided, as well as a few grab bars. There's a lot of knobs at the middle school. And there's also a lot of challenges for anyone that would be with that need going in or potentially out of some of the classroom spaces, and then not to mention the locker rooms, restrooms, and wrestling. And again, this is a thing that's not uncommon at many buildings, but this one is unfortunate that we can't just fast forward the age of it a little bit and wish it was built a little bit later. So there's ADA things. Then I mentioned we looked at MEP, or mechanical, electrical, and plumbing. So here are some highlights, I guess, if we want to call it. Roof exhaust fans are beyond their life expectancy, right? They're still functioning, but they're just beyond their life expectancy. Something to note is the fire alarm system. We're recommending that it would be replaced. The zone system doesn't have voice enunciation. So if you were to do any kind of strategic work where you were addressing that, the authority having jurisdiction will likely make you upgrade the entire system. So it's good to know that if you're going into that building and going to do anything, that you understand what the whole cost of any solution might be. Otherwise, plumbing issues, those are addressed by the team as they might come up. And then one thing we are recommending is bringing a generator to that building to ensure that critical infrastructure can be powered up, right? We don't want pipes to freeze if there was ever power to go down, and some districts also want to make sure that cold food and frozen food is able to be served another day down the road when the building is back up online. So some preventative type things.
Thanks, Devin. So our next school to review is Rossman Elementary, and Rossman is on 15.2 acres. We are in it right now, so you probably have a little bit of a sense of it just being here. Built in 1969 with two additions, one in the year 2000, the West Addition, and then an additional addition in 2019 of various classrooms. The grade levels served here are 5K through 5th grade, and there's a current enrollment of 456 students. The condition, the site is good to fair. The exterior is rated as fair. The interior and the systems are both good to fair.
Thanks, Melissa. And I think pointing to bring up the grade levels here, just because it is going to be a little different than the next building that we go through. So first the site, about 2/3 of the site is used daily. Buses are in the back, and parents are in a large area in the front of the building. Something else to note is there's another organization that utilizes this building. The Boys and Girls Club has a home here, as well as in the next building that we'll talk about. So important to know that as well. Perhaps you saw it as you entered the building from the south, or perhaps also the north. There are extreme areas of rust on the canopy in both areas. It's a unique system where the column is actually an integral downspout as well. So the water is being brought off and conveyed down onto the ground via the column. Water is also bypassing some gutters in areas where we have them. Again, we want to control the water that's coming off the building and meeting different intersections between materials, because again, water will cause issues with our freeze thaw cycle. And then there's some steel lintels rusting interior, again, similar thing, our rooms get a lot of use, so some of that casework is deteriorating, and also restroom partitions are rusting where they get more access to water or other liquids. This building has a unique feature. It has kind of a mezzanine or a second floor to it, something that our other buildings largely do not. In that area, there's a lot of wood frame walls, so we would call that combustible construction. We can use wood in school buildings, but typically we want to make sure that that's just blocking. So if we're trying to hang something on a wall, if we have a block wall, we don't need that, but we don't want to have large sections of the building that are wood studs, right? Something that's very easy to put up. We want to make sure that they're non-combustible construction so that it meets a flame spread rating if there ever were such an event at any of the school buildings. And again, nothing that I'm sharing is uncommon from other buildings very close by, so don't feel alone in this at all. Accessibility, again, restrooms and locker entries. We also have some concerns with heights on work surfaces and sinks, accessible toilet stalls, and then again, not as many knobs as the middle school, but we have a few at this building as well. We want to make sure that that's a graspable lever. And ADA is something that we can all find ourselves needing. It doesn't just mean mobility impairment, it could be a visual impairment as well. It could be something we suffer from for 6 weeks, or it could be a lifelong event. For mechanical, electrical, and plumbing, right, MEP, flip my page here. The electrical panel boards, so that's actually the bottom right picture. Those are original to the building, so they're well past their life expectancy, and parts are becoming incredibly sparse as we look at any kind of fixes to that. The cooling tower and air chiller are beyond their useful life expectancy as well. We're also recommending the fire alarm. This is a similar situation to Central, but it does have better coverage with the strobes and whatnot in the building, but it's still lacking some additional coverage that should be maintained. And then the existing generator is underpowered, and for the critical infrastructure that we have at the building, we understand it is likely to be sized for the original building, but then in the year 2000, which, right, that's 24 years ago now, that car, that new house, the new Rossman, it's getting up in age where things are becoming needed to be replaced. So generator being one of those items.
All right, and our third school, Lincoln Elementary School. So the site size over there is 19 acres. The age of the building it was actually constructed in 1954, and then had additions in 1964, 1965, an East Classroom addition, 2000 was the library addition, and 2019 was at the same time as some work done at Rossman, a classroom addition as well. This building serves early childhood through 5th grade. So whereas Rossman is 5K through 5th grade, Lincoln is serving early childhood through 5th grade. The current enrollment is almost the same as the other school, and that is at 453 students. The maintenance item conditions include the site at a fair rating, with the exterior at fair to poor, and the interior and systems are both good to fair.
Thanks, Melissa. Again, good to know, right? We're serving 2 more grades there, so we have 4K and EC that are also supported at Lincoln that are currently at this building. 19-acre parcel, 4 of it's across the road on Rural Street, and that's being used for a geothermal field. And again, it's important to note that the Boys and Girls Club also finds a home and provides those wraparound services at Lincoln. Exterior. So exterior, this is something you guys have, I'm sure, heard of before. There's been a project to address a bit of it in the past that our firms were along for the ride with. There's a lot of issues with the brick on specific sections of the building. Really, it's the 4th and 5th grade corridor. It's around the back of the kitchen, receiving cooling, that area. It wraps around the front of that area where the special education support spaces are, and then also kind of comes back north toward rural and along the art room as well in front of the building. So we don't want brick to ever be spalling, chipping, or cracking, or flaking off of the building, and unfortunately that's what's occurring. It's ongoing there at that building. Another thing that we look at for the exterior is there's a large section of roof that is nearing the end of its lifespan. We also have an area of parking lot that has enhanced cracking on it and should be targeted for replacement. And then we also have site drainage concerns. So when we were out there in February, right, it was a beautiful 70-degree day like it normally is, and the snow was melting off the roof and it was draining right up against the building. We want to, again, make sure that we're controlling that water, where it's going, get it right, the 70-degree day, that was a lie, sorry for everybody at home. We want to make sure that that water gets away from the building. And actually, while I was just sitting here, we also have water issues for that 4th and 5th grade wing as well. While I was sitting listening to some of the presentations and recognition before, I actually had our civil engineer that's assisting with some advanced evaluation, giving me a couple criteria and looking at what the issues are of water concern in that wing that we'll bring to you on the 9th. So I guess excited to share that with you, but just in. So interior, again, we have some combustible walls. I mentioned the cracked flooring for the VCT. Really, it's pretty minor. The one area that's could be more of a concern is damaged ceiling in the locker room. That locker room is one of the areas where the wall is not in great shape. So if it's now affecting something inside the building, again, that's just cause for additional concern once it makes its way in the building. Accessibility, the top 3 I've already mentioned at our other 2 buildings. And again, based on year that these additions and everything were put in. Something that's of note in the picture at the bottom is, right, we have a railing. Well, code today says that the railing has to turn and go a foot beyond that so that you have a grass-full surface once you get on top of the stair as well, not just going up. So that's also something we address. Here you're seeing compliant stair treads. In another area of the building, they aren't, I'll say, as compliant. They don't have the visual strip here. You can see a black and a gray. So I promised that I wouldn't go into too much detail, so I'm sorry. For MEP at Lincoln, heat pumps are within 5 years of their life expectancy. There's 45 of them. So while you don't have to just replace them the year or the day that, to 25 years or whatever that you bought them, you still want to make sure that you're kind of tracking that and you have funds available so that when something goes, you can replace it. Same with the DOAS units, so those bringing fresh air into the building. No major plumbing issues, unless what I referenced before for civil brings something up, but that would be more site related. And then you're seeing a picture there of one of the original generators. It's over 40 years old. It's functionally obsolete, and you're not going to be able to find parts and pieces for it. So again, we want to make sure that critical infrastructure can be maintained and that the buildings are in good working condition.
Thank you, Devin. So I'd like to start off before we get to the fun numbers and the summaries, to just kind of tell you a little bit about the estimating process. So you can see the funnel that we have right here. That shows the amount of data that we're kind of taking in, the level we're at. So we're like 30,000 feet at the top of that funnel. And this is where we're kind of broad scope of facility plan. So we have a lot of good scope and detail, but there's no drawings that really back that up. As you go further down, we get more team input, more drawings, more details. Estimates get refined until that bullseye is when we actually do construction. So it's bid out and it's out to bid, we're into the project. So right now, you can see the arrow, we're right at the very top. So we're using a lot of our historical data for this. A lot of the projects that we've done actually here use that data and other projects throughout the state of Wisconsin to develop these numbers for this facility maintenance plan. Our number that we compiled with the team here includes all labor and material, has all the design and construction fees, contingencies, because we want to bake in some contingency for design and estimating and construction. It does have an inflationary factor in here through 2025, so this is going to be 2025 construction costs. And we do bake in some allowances too, to make sure that you're getting a holistic number, that nothing's left out. So when you look at that facility maintenance plan, when you look at those line by line items, it's got everything in it, there's nothing left out. Okay, and so preliminary estimates, again, is the current district building conditions right now as represented. Like Devin had already explained, is we broke it out ADA level 1, 2, and 3, so you can understand the facility plan. What is the primary need? Again, ADA doesn't need to happen right now, but we want to identify that separately. So if it does happen, then you know exactly that dollar amount. And we choose just like an a la carte item, what you want to tackle now or what you don't. It could be all priority level 1 with some 2, or maybe a 3 is the definitely important part. And that's up to your choice. So most of the items in here are 1-for-1 replacement. There is some synergy between a couple items that when you get to that decision-making factor that we can discuss and say, okay, if you take this one automatically drops on like a canopy, repairs like that. So, and again, when that is going through, you choose your planning options, say this is what we're going to tackle now, we're going to leave the rest for later. That will be removed from the plan, so we're not going to have any duplicates or any scope duplicates. So it's a plan that you can keep taking on again for the master plan for 10 years. So again, all budgets 2025, and then most of them all standalone. All right, now some fun graphs, so I get some cool pictures like that. So as you can see here, we broke down to 3 schools. So we have Central, Rossman, and Lincoln. If you notice right off the bat, and I think you could probably understand it from the facility assessment and what we just kind of reviewed today, the lion's share of the needs are at Lincoln. And you can see where it falls out with the priorities. So again, we got them split out between ADA level 1 through 3, but you can really see here is kind of glaring that Lincoln does have the major priority between the 3 schools. So we further broke this out into another cool pie chart that we like to have a lot of colors on. And what actually is the pieces that make that up, not just level 1 priorities, 2 or 3. This has everything with ADA level 1, 2, 3, but where's the lion's share of that amount going to? And you can see it just that staggering 70%. That's all exterior. That's what Devin was talking about on the team. The exterior roof, the actual brick, that cladding, that's a large portion of it. The grading, which Devin showed the picture of, that's a stormwater management, so that's a big area too. And some of the roof replacements that we're looking at, that's probably a high priority need. Again, what Devin mentioned before, very little plumbing that we know right now, but you can definitely see 70% is the exterior envelope. Rossman, again, exterior, there's that theme that we've been talking about, 42%. The electrical was a little higher compared to the other ones. That's the generator when it comes to overall cost. But again, the rusty canopies at Rossman, combustible construction for the interior, so, and then the cooling tower and chiller, that's going to be in that HVAC portion at 9% of my glasses, I apologize, but that's part of those main 3 there. But again, the running theme that we have in our presentation is exterior envelope. Central Middle School, again, 41% exterior, and then 88 takes a jump up there. That's with some of the reconfiguring doors and entrances in certain areas. But again, roof and site drainage, fire alarm replacement's a big one, and then non-compliant door closures, which makes up that 24% ADA. But again, the theme is the exterior. So as a final reminder, when it comes to the estimating, this is based on our in-depth market experience and what we've done in other projects, including this one, which has been great help doing this. We did not go out for bidding on this. So this does not hit the streets. Nobody's looking at this from a subcontractor. We do have some consultants we reached out to for accurate pricing, but this hasn't gone out the streets yet. At this time, the EDA upgrades are tracked separately because again, it's an option, may be required in the future. But we want to make sure we kept that separately and not baked into different levels of priority. And the next steps is we're going to meet, and especially the B94 is going to be really helpful to kind of the next steps and next potential solutions on where you take this master plan and what really is that priority to identify which needs to be carried forward. All right, key takeaways.
Thank you. So there's a lot of information here. Big key takeaways though is that this is a current state of the buildings. And these are current costs to address 1-for-1 replacement. But big picture, your buildings are very well maintained. Just like your home, it needs maintenance over time. This really started with the drive to build that Fund 46 capital planning roadmap. And so this document can now translate to that, and this is a living document. As we continue to go through it, this will continue to evolve. So if projects are taken care of, they'll then be removed off that list, and then the team can decide how their operational dollars are spent every year with investments in your school facilities. But big picture, Lincoln's maintenance needs are the most immediate. So again, today was just about status quo. Where are you today? But bringing awareness to that. On May 9th, we'll start discussing solutions and what that can look like for the district. So there's a lot of information today. There we go. All right, thank you. And I hope you have some time to digest this. So between now and May 9th, with any questions, please funnel those to the district, and we'll be back to, we'll meet with them regularly, and we will start addressing those, and then we'll be back to answer those questions on May 9th and discuss possible solutions for investment. Anything else to add to? Thank you for your time. Thank you all for that presentation. Thank you to the administration, who I know has already been meeting with them and digging into all of this issue, so I appreciate all the information. The rest of our discussion here is about some policy technical corrections, policy administrative guidelines, and policy first readings. The first reading one was the 8407 School Resource Officer Program, which is a new policy to be reviewed. This is just discussion, so if there's anything that anyone wants to say about any of these technical, administrative, or the first reading, we can have a discussion about it, otherwise we don't need to take any action on it. Do you have any comments, or should I move on? Okay, we're going to move on to our action items. Number 1, we already handled, so we're starting with number 2, which is our library media plan for 2024 through 2027. This is the recommendation for an updated district library plan, which Mrs. Hanlon presented to us earlier. Is there a motion? Any discussion on that? I didn't know this was our first one, and I just thought it was such a well-done plan, so I just want to thank Mrs. Hanlon and everyone else who worked on it. It was very well done. Then all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 3 is our policy revisions. Should I read all of these? Yes, I do, right? Is everyone all right if I do not read them all? Okay, otherwise I would. There are many policy revisions that we are going over. Took a little while to go through it, but Dr. Gilliam also prepared a lovely spreadsheet for us that went through all some of the information and why we're looking at these revisions. This list includes current policies which must be updated. There were a variety of reasons of why, and is there a motion or discussion on these policies? I did say it wrong because it's written that way. I apologize. Can I have a motion?
Make a motion to approve all the list of policies.
Second. Discussion done. Do you mean the existing ones, Don? They are, if you click on the word policy. And then that spreadsheet on the left, Don, the number of the policy is also clickable. But when you click on it, it takes you to the PDF with the revisions in it. From what we have existing to any technical or other changes that were made.
So it is to be linked to the spreadsheet. Maybe also scan them into a PDF document, so you have them spreadsheet or the reviewing of the minutes.
Any other further question or discussions? Then, we just,
I guess, sorry, if I could make a quick comment about these policy provisions, I was making a comment on policy, the other policies during discussion. There was some information released recently about Title IX regulation. It's been updated. I just wanted to let the board know that the new information will have a presentation deadline in August, and Neola is working on all those at this point in time, and so we've been advised that we're still good to follow our current policies as they exist, and then necessary policy 66 when that update comes, so I will have that for you. It may not be up a cycle that we typically do twice a year, but
also just for the board, especially since we have a new board member, these policies were actually sent to us earlier than the agenda so that we had some more time through that spreadsheet. I know I didn't see the PDF, but I just went the spreadsheet route. But we had a little extra time because it is a lot. So I guess just so that you guys know going forward that we have that with a little more time so that we can spend some time with it, which I appreciate. Thank you. All right, then we're going to go to a vote. So all in favor on the motion to approve these policies listed above? Aye. Sorry, I said that weird. Any opposed? Okay, the motion carries. Number 4, hire a 2024 summer school principal. The recommendation for the 2024 summer school principal is Joe Navarre. This will be only for this summer session. Is there a motion? Any discussion? Roll call.
Ed. Don. Barb. I say aye. Aaron.
Aye. Motion carries. Professional teacher merit compensation for the 2024-25 school year. The offer exchanged included a 0% base wage increase. The recommendation is a 4.12% merit increase for the 2024-25 school year for returning professional staff and a starting educator wage of $45,000. Is there a motion?
Professional teacher merit compensation for 24-25.
Second? Discussion.
I just want to say I love that we're going to start right. Our new teachers and want to be teachers and think it's a fair. The only other thing that I wanted to add, and it was in the template for the board, but Mr. Majerus and I have been meeting today throughout the school year. One of the things that we did discuss with them was the base wage and then the calendar schedule. So you will note that that is also part of this. And we'll start with education published, and then we'll come to us with experience where they will go. That is more comfortable and less than random placement, and then some differential. So that would be the starting, I refer to it a different way. So the starting educator wage would be $45,000 if you're a brand new educator. That would be the base wage. No, it was 42,375. And we're to 40,000 more.
Okay, so, what we're required by negotiating with teacher is next week is experience is 10 base system, so we have 0% base wage. So. It's just kind of honestly, it's kind of silly, basically, to negotiate with. Versus. Long and short of it is, smooth.
Any other discussion? Then we need a roll call vote.
Barb. Ed. John. I say aye. Aaron. Aye.
Motion carries. Number 6 is the support staff compensation for the 2024-25 school year. The recommendation is a 4.12% increase for the 25-24 school year, 24-25 school year for any returning support staff. Is there a motion?
Support staff compensation, 24-25 school year.
Any discussion? Then we'll go to a roll call, please.
Aaron.
I say aye.
Ed. John. Barb. I say aye.
The motion carries. Number 7, administrator compensation for the 24-25 school year. The recommendation is a 4.12% increase. Is there a motion? Second. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
John. Ed. Barb. I say aye. Aaron. I say aye.
That motion carries. District Health Insurance Plan 2024-25. The recommendation is to keep the self-insured health insurance plan with United Healthcare as the third-party administrator and underlying insurance company. The funding rates will increase 8% to ensure proper funds are available to pay claims. No changes to network, deductibles, co-insurance, or health reimbursement accounts are recommended. The plan year will be changed to a January 1st start to better align our plan with the deductible reporting years and flexible spending account years. Is there a motion? Second? Any discussion?
I wanted to comment on that, and just, wanted to make sure, doesn't, you said it doesn't change the student or any of the things that they're being switched to the January 1st date, does that mean that on our agenda again? That,
Staff, whether they're county or staff, or school year staff, contribute a portion of the cost. Premiums that are calculated, so they experience school year people. So that's the answer to that. Yeah. Second comment regarding fiscal year. As we know, and having to do another open enrollment period in October to beginning of December, somewhere during that time frame. There's a lot of benefits to the employees for doing this. Our employees have spouses external to this industry who severe insurance plans are on a year basis. So, I'd say it's the biggest advantage for them is now they can see their plan next to their spouse's plan. One decision at the same time, at the same time, so they can determine which plans. Secondly, occasional confusion, the need to clarify for employees. The doctor will be used, especially if we experience a change from provider to provider. There is potential where as you change from one to experience different insurance company. So by establish some kind of cycle. Those cycles will run at the same time, flex spending as well. So again, flex spending decisions and deductions based on January, December year. So all of those things kind of line up. It should be a positive experience for the user. Does it need a little bit of support for us? Potentially, because you'll have a set of grades, two different budget years. So all to the way we do it now is the plan and its costs and can be anticipated this school year, but it doesn't do a lot of so we're going to do a little bit more.
There's still the opt-out, correct?
Yeah, so again, if you're benefit eligible, still allowed to participate during the
Good questions, thank you. Any other questions or conversation? I need a roll call.
Aaron? Aye. I say aye. John?
Aye.
Ed?
Aye.
Barb? Aye.
The motion carries. Number 9, sixth grade outdoor education camp contract for 2024. Sixth grade students attend camp annually as part of their science, math, and outdoor education learning. There is a range of activities during the 3 days, such as fishing, photography, GPS, learning about swamps and survival skills, and other things. Students also have the option to spend one night overnight at camp. Is there a motion?
Contract with Anthony.
Any discussion?
I just want to say my kids absolutely love this. I'm so pleased that we are able to know our sixth graders. It's a great way to collaborate from Rossman students and Lincoln students coming together for the first time, meeting new friends. It's phenomenal. The program never.
I would echo all of that. You want an overnight at camp?
Overnight chaperone. Come join me. I'm going to do it this year. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun.
We'll discuss that at our board retreat on May 9th. Okay. Can I get a roll call vote, please?
I say aye. Ed? Don?
Aye.
Barb? Aaron? Aye.
Motion carries. Number 10, audiology services contract for 2024-25. The district contracts for audiology services for students who require audiology services within their individualized education plan, IEP, or Section 504 plan. As these services are low incidence in the district, it is not cost effective for the district to directly hire an audiologist. The district has contracted with Gateway Audiology since 2018. Is there a motion?
Motion to approve the audiology contract with Gateway Audiology at a cost not to exceed $69.30.
Any discussion on that? Roll call, please.
Barb? Ed? Don?
Aye.
I say aye. Aaron?
Aye. Motion carries. Number 11, Purposeful People and Character Strong Programming. The Purposeful People program was piloted at the elementary level this school year, and staff have seen a significant growth in the culture of their classroom and student vocabulary used while having a decrease in student behaviors, 3 times less behavior referrals than previous years. The Character Strong program has been used at Central and also has a Tier 2 equivalent for students who continue to struggle with emotions, social skills, and functioning. The recommendation is to adopt the Purposeful People curriculum, renew Character Strong, and purchase the Tier 2 education curriculum. The cost will be paid from the Get Kids Ahead funds. Is there a motion?
Make a motion to adopt the Purposeful People and Tier 2 education and renew Character Strong using Get Kids Ahead fund at no cost to the
I'll second. Can I second? Not sure. Can I ask for a second? Thank you. Any discussion on this?
First of all, with the second, the Tier 2, Kara explained, and I just want to make sure. So the Tier 2 is just for Central, but it's only for kids that need additional support. Character Strong will stay the same, but I know we're changing the time. We know that afternoon, last time of the day is not successful. I hear that from my own personal child that takes time. I don't ever say that, but they're very frustrated. They're tired at the end of the day, and it's not helping. So I know that's changed to 4 hour or something next year.
It's actually a little different for it. Okay, we have one that'll schedule for POC, one and one.
Perfect. I think that's the biggest portion of this that we really have to just keep striving on with central things. The day of something. I understand how the conversations we've had with teachers that so people in the lower grades is phenomenal. It's really helping. We saw that with the 3% or 3 time discussion, which is amazing. So thank you for finding this. And so post-COVID, we got just money based that they recognize that COVID things went on here. So we got 35,000 over here, 70,000 to use it. And then
we had to meet specific criteria to use the funds also, correct?
correct. Yeah. So that, so that's the different one.
Point of clarification, that was about the electing. Character tourism is also part of, exclusively from I don't know if I said it, the character tourism, but it's my character first, and then later. Some areas.
Yeah, here first, we still use a supplemental. It's not a digital resource, so it's not committed to be used as they update the curriculum. So we can still use it, it's just not coming to curriculum. They still, at the school, they call it live pathways, so they're not calling it kind of that's the curriculum. And then, we can just verify that tier 2 is also supplemental. It would be perfect, thank you. It didn't have the whole thing like all the other ones kind of gave like, an action or a program, and then like, it just said tier 2, and then I was like, okay, what's tier 2? Like, what's an example? I'm like, there's nothing there, and I was like, what is it? Yeah, so, yeah, okay. At whole level, so we can respond, first people who are very ready to be here, here response, or here first, then there a section also for ELA in a specific section that's, here's an ELA. Yes, they do provide some tools.
Very good, then we'll move on to our roll call, please.
Ed.
Aye.
Don.
Aye.
Barb. Aaron. And Louise. Isaac.
That vote carries. Number 12 is CESA 6 Memorandum of Understanding for Transportation. The district is part of a CESA 6 consortium for a homeless children and youth grant. The consortium would like to use remaining funds to contract with the transportation company to transport homeless children to and from school. This memorandum of understanding would be in place until September 20th, 2024, which is the end date of the grant performance or the date in which the grant funding is exhausted. Is there a motion? Give a second. Any discussion or questions?
This is money that if we spend it. So it does not cost anything for people, it simply runs up.
Any other questions? Then all in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Number 13, school supply lists for 24 and 25. Supply lists were reviewed and updated by team leaders for all grades at all buildings. Is there a motion?
2024, 25 schools by.
Any discussion?
I wanted to share that while we're giving this to you this year, this is more of an administrative task that should not come to the school board. So, question next year at this time, I haven't seen it, just I'll refresh everyone. Next year, I wanted to.
All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. Number 14, the consent agenda. The consent agenda includes approval of minutes, bills, treasurer's report, and personnel recommendations. Is there a request to pull an item for the consent agenda? Seeing none, I would like a motion to approve this.
Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Don. Ed. Aaron.
Aye.
I say aye. Barb.
Number 10 is board meeting reflection and feedback. So the feedback from our last meeting was included. And in front of you, all board members, we have this little plus wonderings delta. So things that went really well tonight, you put it in the plus section. Things that maybe you would like to see improvements on, you put in the delta. And if you have questions or curiosities about anything, you put that in the wonderings category. And then Mrs. Hoffman will collect them at the end. Lastly, could I have a motion to adjourn? All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you.